This is K Rock Cast, the podcast where music and perspectives collide.
And a music lover who's the ultimate fan.
And I'm Kelly, a professional musician. Join us as we dive into the world of the Rose and other Korean and Asian rock bands.
Sometimes we'll agree, sometimes we'll wildly disagree. But what's guaranteed is a passionate, hilarious, and unfiltered conversation about the music that unites us and the bands that inspire us. Everybody, welcome back. This is episode 4 of K Rock Cast Into the Dawn Part 2. We're going to be diving into the rest of the Dawn album. But before that, we're recording on February 16th, but the day of this release is going to be February 27th, which is such a special day because it's our very own Kelly's birthday. Yay! Happy birthday, Kelly.
Cue.
Yeah, 생일 축하합니다. Do you have any special plans that you're going to be doing on this day?
No, none at all.
Aw,
None, nothing.
yeah, hopefully you're not working. Maybe take
I
the day
am.
off.
Because I've
Well,
just got back from Thailand, so I've got to go to work.
that's right. You'll have just returned from Rabbit to the Moon Festival. Be so excited to hear all about that in the next episode. We also have another birthday 2 days ago on February 25th. You share the birthday week with our very own Kim Woo Sung, Pisces
It's a scary.
partners.
Oh, yeah. It's a scary thought, isn't it?
It is a scary thought, yeah. So happy birthday to Sammy. We hope he had a good birthday too.
Yeah, happy birthday, Sammy.
Well, let's go into our hot takes. We're going to start with around the Korean rock industry with a Korean pop rock group that I've just been getting into recently called CN Blue. They announced on January 24th their North American tour, Voyage into X in North America, which will kick off in Toronto in April. The dates in the cities are Toronto, April 16th, New York, April 18th, which I am going to. So I'm super excited to share my experience in a future episode. LA on April 24th and San Francisco on April 27th. If any listeners are fans of CN Blue, you weren't familiar or didn't know that they were touring in North America, definitely check them out. There are definitely still tickets available if you want to go see them. Get tickets. They are a Korean pop rock band, debuted a while ago. So they've been around a while in 2009. They've had various members throughout the years, but currently there are 3 members. The lead, main vocalist, guitar, keyboard is Jung Young Hwa. And I kind of just learned about them because he was on a show with Sammy Pop. And it was the first time he and Sammy met. And that was kind of the first time I saw him. And they had some amazing duets together where they sang each other's songs. And he has a tremendous voice. So I'm definitely excited to see them. Drums, their drummer is Kang Min Hyuk Kelly. I think I learned something new about myself from this podcast.
I think we all learned something new about ourselves.
I have a thing for drummers, apparently,
Yeah, it's the
because
slippery slope.
oh my goodness, this drummer is so hot. Wow. And he looks like a tremendous drummer. So,
Oh, he's an amazing drummer. He is an
yeah,
exceptional drummer. Yeah.
yeah, but he is easy on the eyes.
Also a very good actor.
I know, that's the thing. These guys have all been in K-dramas, most of them too,
Mhm.
which I have so much to learn about this group. And then finally their bassist is Lee Jung-shin. So I wanted to talk about this because I found out that the last time they toured and actually came to North America was 2014. So it's been 11 years. It was on their Blue Moon tour. They seem to typically only tour very heavily in Japan and maybe some other areas across Asia. So I felt like this was pretty major that they decided to come to North America after 11 years. I have tickets to see them in New York. I definitely will share my experience in a future episode. We got some other news with the Rose. We got some pictures that Hajun and Sammy posted on Instagram of a new drum kit and their rehearsal studio. Kelly, why don't you kind of break down those pictures for us?
We've had a photograph of a new drum kit, and it's a beautiful A and F drum kit. I'm trying to work out though if it's one of their metal kits or if it's actually one of their wooden kits. If it's one of the wooden kits, it'll be made of maple and poplar, and they are beautiful, beautiful kits. I'm wondering whether or not he's been signed up as one of their artists, but there's nothing on their website yet. But I must admit, these smaller bespoke companies can be notorious at updating their websites.
Yeah,
Um,
we you talked about that in an earlier episode that as tremendous of a drummer as Hajun is, it's just amazing he hasn't been picked up for any sort of endorsement, so let's hope
yeah,
maybe he has.
he seems to hop around drum kits anyway. I mean, I've seen him playing Tama a lot. I've seen him playing a Yamaha kit and everything. But I mean, a lot of the time when you're touring abroad, you don't necessarily take your actual drum kit anyway,
Yeah.
because it's just so expensive. Hardware is so heavy. Um, Most drummers, you'll hire the shells, you'll hire stands as well, and you'll just take your snare and your cymbals and your pedal with you. I mean, that's
Mhm.
heavy enough as it is, to be perfectly honest.
So this kind
Uh,
of really high-end, really nice drum kit, he's gonna be using this more probably when they're recording to get that highest quality
yeah,
sound. Is that kinda what
yeah,
you're saying?
exactly. Because the sound on these, if it is a wooden kit, which is what I think it is, it's going to have a really beautiful resonance with it.
Mm.
It's going to have a really nice snap and things like that. And this looks like it's a recording setup anyway.
Right, I was saying that to you. It's obviously not in their windfall office. So
No.
similarly, the second picture you're gonna talk about from Sammy is their windfall office, and we
Yeah.
happen to see Hajun there, and it's a different drum kit he's on. So, this drum kit must be in a special place.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the type of kit that you just throw in the back of your vehicle and drive
Right.
around. To be perfectly, this is a special kit. Generally speaking, I would have thought this is for recording, and if it is the kit that I think it is, it's going to have such a beautiful warm tone.
Mm,
I'm very used to Brady drum kits, and they're made in a very similar way. So it's made out of just one piece of wood. It isn't bound together. It's actually hollowed out, and they beautiful sound, and you get that really definite snap, and it's warm, and it's got a great tone. So yeah, that's a beautiful drum kit.
think like kudos to you, Hajun, that you've obviously kind of reached a level now where, you're able to get this high quality kit for yourself. And yeah, excited to hear more of the new music coming out, using your kit. So walk us through the next picture that Sammy posted on Instagram. This is in their studio showing their equipment, which, I love. I said to you, I love in the background Hajun in
Yeah,
his wife beater. Like, how
I
sexy
knew
is
you.
that?
I knew you were going to say that.
I know, and as I said, he's been like, look at his arms. He's been hitting the gym, obviously. Get him, Hajun.
Yeah, he's a drummer though. Drummers all have arms like that.
I
He
don't know.
goes
Let
with the
me let me bask in it. This we do have to have a drinking opportunity, so this is the
Oh,
first one,
yeah, the first one of many, I'm quite sure.
of many, I'm
Uh,
sure.
Many, 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 I'm sure of that. Uh, so you've completely thrown.
I've thrown you. I'm sorry, we're supposed to be looking at the equipment, not
We
Hajun's
are, yeah.
arms.
Well, you're looking at Haj's arms.
I'm admiring.
It's all your fault. There you go. To be perfectly honest, I mean, I saw some really excited sort of things flying around, and people are like going, "It's this piece of equipment, and it's this piece of equipment," and it's just like this is just their bog standard setup that they take on tour with them and rehearse with all the time. So, just to give you a perspective of how this photograph's taken, because I think that's confused a lot of people as well. I think Sammy is sat on a bar stool and he's taken the photograph down the microphone. So the black thing you can see at the top is his microphone, and obviously he's man spragging like he always does because can't sit with his legs crossed.
I know, I was so confused about the
He's
perspective
never
of
a
this
lady.
picture.
He can't sit demurely for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Um, it's just a bloke thing, isn't it? Anyway, so that gives you an idea of why the photograph looks the way that it does. It's a very typical rehearsal photograph. If you're in a small space, you tend to congregate around a central point and you all sort of face each other to rehearse. I mean, if you ever go onto my band's website, you'll see photographs like this appear in the reels because every band does this, especially if you play your own equipment. The items that are halfway down the mic stands are in-ear monitors, so it's like a little premix. So the guys all wear in-ear monitors so they can hear what everybody else is doing on stage. You have to get used to that sound. It's quite a weird thing to go from being on stage and having the cacophony of every instrument making the noise and wedge monitors at the front sort of feeding back to you, to literally having earphones in that give you the mix. But if the mix is bass high or treble high, it can, especially if you're a singer, it can throw you out. You'll see Sammy and Tojon, and they will actually take the in-ear monitor out every now and again
Yeah, tell
when they're
me
actually
okay,
singing.
can I ask that I'm so glad you brought this up because I noticed this with music artists a lot, and I always wondered, why do they do that? Can you break that down for me?
It's just resonance. I had this yesterday, so I was in the studio recording some more layers for REP, and I had got the headphones on, and I had to take one of the cans off my ears so I could actually hear myself. And it's so you
Ah,
can hear
okay.
that resonance because you've got the sound coming through. And if you can't hear yourself, sometimes you lose your pitch.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you might go a bit out of pitch and just a little bit off the notes. But those little mix units are just so you can fine tune the
Okay.
um
Now, let me ask this. So, as they're all crowded around, and I can see, this office, is it, we know it's a basement because we saw it in one of their live streams. They walked us around. There's concrete cement walls behind Hajun. What must the sound like if they're playing their instruments? Do they mute the instruments in a way so it only feeds into the in ears? Or, like, are you in this office and you're deaf because
no.
the sound is just like all like it's not going out in an auditorium or an arena, it's being all bounced around these cement block like walls.
Most rehearsal spaces are like that. There's very
Mm,
few that you'll go into that are big, carnivorous spaces. And dependent on, don't get me wrong, I mean, I've been in bands where you've got a guitarist and everything has to be turned up to 11. You'll
mhm.
get that if you've ever watched Spinal Tap. And literally, it's just like you can find yourself being a bit deafened by it. But when you're working with proper musicians, you find an equal level. So these guys
Okay.
will have an equal level. I mean, the loudest thing in there is going to be Hajun's kick drum, to be perfectly
Mhm.
honest. Cymbals will reverberate quite loudly, but they've got actual soundproofing on the walls. So you will have seen that, when they do the rose couch
Mhm.
and you've got that sort of padding on the back wall, that's
Oh,
soundproofing.
is that what that
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
Okay, okay.
And a lot of the time, so you can see obviously it's a concrete wall behind them, but the sound isn't going backwards, it pushes forwards. So
Right.
you need something to absorb it at the opposite side, which is what they've done.
I wonder what business is above them since that looks like they're in a basement. Like, I hope it's not a business that doesn't mind that minds noise. Because my goodness.
It honestly, as silly as it sounds, it depends because I mean, concrete does absorb
No,
sometimes.
maybe then the concrete is a better,
It's about it deadens
yeah.
sound.
Mm,
I mean, you can. It depends on like heights of ceilings and all of
mhm,
that type of stuff. The fact that they've got carpet rugs down on the floor is another one as well. I mean,
mm,
it's all done to deaden sound, but you can see the pedals on the floor. So they've got multiple pedals. So they'll have things like sustain, wah, all of those type of things. But you'll see that Sammy, Dojon, and Jay have all got a sort of set box pedal in front of them, which is
right,
like a
right.
multi-pedal. That I think will more than likely have a preamp in it as well, because I would be very surprised if they've got full-on amp rigs sat behind them as they're set up. They've probably got a couple of little wedge monitors or something like that. They use wireless on stage anyway, so they will be tuned with all the presets for every single song that they're doing. You can set it up so every time that you get onto your next song, you can just see the little metal togs on there, and you press it with your foot, and it will preset it onto the next track.
That's so cool.
So, yeah, it's really good because I mean, once upon a time, I mean, one of my old guitarists who's not with me anymore, bless him, we lost him, and he had a pedal board. No word of a
Mm.
lie, had literally got 15 pedals on it, and it used to look like he was tap dancing. It's like,
Oh,
for God's sake,
wow.
man, just buy yourself one unit. Whereas Luke our bass player, literally, he uses pretty much exactly the same thing, and
Mhm.
it's just one unit, and yeah, and he just uses that, which I'm so glad because the actual bass stack he's got, if we had that on stage, there'd be room for nothing else. So I mean, we use a clean stage. We don't take amps when we play anyway. So we
Yeah.
do a very similar thing.
Well,
And
I
that's obviously
think
what the
Sammy
guys do.
I feel like he posted this to show us that they're practicing, kinda
Exactly. We are doing something.
we are
We are
doing
honestly doing
something. I
something.
mean, Dojun fans loved seeing his feet right there, like, they picked up on his black shoes off to the side,
Is this
but
like some really weird version of OnlyFans?
I know, right? But we did unfortunately get confirmation from Sammy on Rosarium that there's no album. Why don't you kinda update us on that too, Kelly?
Yeah, yeah, he's just basically said, "I lied."
So, I'm
I
just
mean,
gonna put this out there, listeners. We called this. Like, you
yeah,
and I aren't surprised. We've
no,
said this
not
in
at
the
all.
past, what, 2, 3 episodes. We knew they were not having an album
You
this
can't do
this
it. You
month.
can't do it that quickly.
No.
I mean, if literally they had gone back to Korea, taken 3 months off, and then gone, "Right, that's it, we're writing the album and we're doing it," they would have probably got it ready. But, I mean, somebody decided he was gonna do a solo album and a solo tour and take one of the members with him.
And needed his
Um,
bestie with
he
him,
needed his
so
buddy with
his
him.
person.
Yeah, exactly. And so that will have slowed things down. I mean, you can't expect anything else. To be able to write, record, and everything else that needs to be involved with releasing an album, you can't do it overnight. I mean, you could see the absolute look of shock and shit, man, you've just thrown me under the bus during the anniversary
Yeah.
Rosario video, and Dojo, bless his heart, is just like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, we said that before. Sammy likes to talk out of his ass. I think this time I even said this in the last episode that it was gonna bite him. It was gonna bite him in the ass,
Hey,
and I think it
hey,
did.
I can't say anything because I've done exactly the same. We expected our
Yeah.
repeat to be out in December. Well, it's not out yet, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think like like you and I have been saying, when they're ready, we're ready, so
Mhm,
we
yeah.
expected this. It wasn't a surprise for you and I. I think it's just gonna be interesting. This episode will come out after the Rabbit to the Moon festival, but we're recording before it. So I'm just so interested to see what they'll do as the set list. Um,
I think they'll probably throw in a new track in there just to see how it goes down.
yeah,
They've done that previously before. I think they'll do that.
I still think
I'd
they
be very
they may
surprised.
too. We'll see if I
Yeah.
eat those words. If you and I eat those words when you come back and
Yeah.
report
And
back,
just go,
but
"Oh, no, they did the exact same set that they did at Coachella." Yeah.
I know, I just feel like
Um,
they're gonna wanna switch it up a little bit,
I
so
think so.
gonna be
I think
something
they'll want to
special.
test I think they're gonna want to test the water with a new track to
Mhm,
see how it sounds and how it goes. Personally, I can't see the album being out until May. Now they're gonna want to
mm,
get the album out before the summer because basically, music always moves in cycles. There's certain times of the year when you just don't do stuff. During the summer, summer's a dead period of time. Dead period of time, and you don't want to be releasing anything during summer because people are away on holidays, and if they're not
mm,
away on holidays, it's festivals, that type of thing.
mhm.
So the music industry kind of goes on vacation because it's doing festivals.
Yeah, 'cause you wanna
um
kinda be out there performing, right?
yeah,
You wanna be
exactly.
touring, you wanna be doing the festivals at that time, not releasing your album.
And you don't tend to release albums sort of October, November, because that tends to fall into like the big hitters. I mean, we're on about your top 10 Billboard artists tend to release then. That's when it's very heavy mainstream record labels that release tracks at that point. I think we're probably looking May, possibly September for a release of the album. I don't think the guys are going to be touring properly until the autumn. They may get some festival shows in during the summer. I will be surprised though, because where they are on the normal set lists for festivals, a lot of those slots have already been filled.
'Cause I
There's
would think things are getting announced. People who are holding concerts in, things like May, June, like, that's getting announced now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
June, July, August.
Mhm.
I mean, we've already had like the lineup for Leeds and Reading and events like that in the UK, Isle of Wight Festival. They've all been announced, and it's everything down to what I'd refer to as a mid-afternoon act, and the guys would be sort of a 5, 6 o'clock act
Right,
with where
right.
they are level wise. Um, I mean, they might be in the UK. They might end up doing Hyde Park again, because they tend to lean towards a K-pop, K-rock event at least once during that week, and none of those items have been announced yet, so they could
Mm.
be on that list.
When
I
is
don't.
that usually held?
July, I think it is end of July. Yeah, it's
Okay.
British summertime, so it's sort of end of July, beginning of
Ooh,
August, if I
if
remember
they get
correctly.
on there, Kelly, this yank might come to
Are you
visit.
going to come and see me?
Yay!
Yay!
You said I need to do proper, pub trivia, so
Yeah, I need to take you to a pub so you can do proper trivia.
yeah, yeah,
And
I
you'll sit
gotta
there going, "I don't know what any of this bloody is.
oh my
These
gosh,
people
I
are weird."
know. No, I won't understand the language. I need an
Honestly,
interpreter.
We do speak English.
You do? I don't know. I think you
We
speak
do.
something else.
No, we do. It's English. This is English, darling. Lovey darling
Uh
sweetheart. It's English. This is what it is.
Ugh, all right. Well, moving on to some new content that we did get, which, fans are just dying for anything new coming out of the Rose. And we had the wonderful pleasure of Epic High releasing one of their television shows on their YouTube channel that guest starred Usang and Jaehyun. Now, this is hysterical because I knew something was brewing because Usang went to Epic High's show in Seoul, South Korea. And if you're not familiar with Epic High, they are a Korean hip hop group. They are legends. They have been around for like 20 years. Their music is so good. And their personalities, there's three members, their personalities are so fun. Sammy knows them really well because he went on tour for them in 2022 prior to his Moth solo showcase. And he was an opening act for a solid like month and a half, maybe 2 months on tour with them. Lived on their tour bus, him and his good friend Peter, who was his DJ at the time. And so he got really close with the guys. They're like his big brothers. And yeah, he went to see them at concert. And I picked up on this little snippet at the very end where he asked for an address of a location. I knew something was going down following that meeting with them. And it must have been this. And so he pulls Jaehyun along with him, bless Jaehyun's heart. And the show is called Napen Hyungs, which means like bad bros or bad big brothers. And it is just hysterical. It's like a half an hour of them roasting Sammy and seeing Sammy as the Dongsang, the younger brother, because he's the Hyung, he's the Mat Hyung, or the oldest in the group of the Rose, was so fun. It was so fun to see him like that. He looked so happy the whole time. And I feel like some of the things that we got was basically like I think we knew Sammy likes to be naked, right? Like I don't know that that was a surprise, but they teased him so
No,
bad about being naked on the tour bus all the
come
time.
on. He is referred to as Caveman Kim.
He is referred to as Caveman Kim, yeah, and I think, Jaehyun, we said this in a previous episode, how he always comes through with the daggers, and, like, he was coming in with some one-liners because when he heard the story that Tablo was telling about Sammy being naked on the tour bus, here comes Jaehyun with like, "Oh, yeah, like, you were basically naked on our tour bus all the time, too." Yeah. I love Sammy, how he's like, "Well, it's, my clothes. The clothes feel so uncomfortable on my skin." I'm like, "Stop it. You just like being naked. Like, don't make an excuse. That's fine.
Oh,
Just
come
own
on.
it."
I can't say anything. I find certain materials very irritant against my skin. However, I'm not going to freely admit to being a naturist.
They were teasing him so bad. It was hysterical. And then how Tablo called him out on his dance moves on
Jesus.
stage during his show, which was totally for the Lazy song, which he does his little choreography and his hip thrusts. And he just totally called him out on that. So funny. So
What was it?
funny.
I can't remember the exact word. It was his weird hip dance.
His weird hip dance. I do
His
think
weird
those were his words. And he talked about how all the fans went so crazy over him. It's so
Do you
funny.
know what? I think I must be in the minority. I find it really cringe.
I know you do. You do find it cringy.
I
Um,
do.
yeah. I love his, whole choreography for that song, and I've added it to my bucket list in my life. I do wanna learn that choreography, minus the hip thrust. I don't need to do the hip thrust, but, um, just the choreography in general is so funny and cute to me. I just love it. So
Yeah, okay, we'll leave you with that one.
it was funny. But the whole time, the concept that they were doing with them on the show was they were taking kind of this Korean Western fusion of food items or drink items and then cooking. And because they had this gochujang cookie and then they had a kimchi margarita that they were making. And so Tablo had the best quote of the whole show where he referred to the rose as the gochujang cookie of K-pop.
The rose is the gochujang cookie of K-pop. 누가
Which was hysterical because he's basically saying they took, here's gochujang is this Korean food item and a cookie is a Western food item, and you bring the 2 together, and this gochujang cookie, I guess, has kind of been popular in the United States, but, like, nobody knows about it in Korea, and so he talked about the roses like that, like, they've gotten so popular outside of Korea, and they're just kinda gaining this popularity now, like, people just learning about them in Korea, which I thought was, like, so true, and it was so funny, and I just loved seeing them supporting them, so it's a great episode.
Yeah, it was really nice, and it was just nice to see both be so comfortable and in their
Yeah.
element. And the only thing I want to say is if I've got a group of guys in my kitchen and they're behaving like that, they'll be kicked out.
Oh my goodness. You know what I realized with the
I've
drink?
never
They
I've
said that
never
the
seen
alcohol drink tasted so gross, but I think there was 2 things wrong. 1, the recipe called it's a margarita and said it was
Yeah,
supposed to be
exactly.
tequila, but all they talk about on the show is that other alcohol was gin.
I know.
So I'm like, "Why did they make it with gin?"
It's the same colour, obviously, it must be the same thing.
I don't know, and then I think Sammy put way too much kimchi juice in there. Like, I get a sense it would should have been a splash. And I feel like
I
he
th
probably poured in, like, way too much of the kimchi juice, but
the
yeah.
I'm sure at some point did he put, like, lemon or lime juice in there as well? And it's like,
Yes. 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 It it
yeah,
it was so funny because everybody else thought it tasted disgusting, and he
I
was
th
like, "I think
I
it's good."
he was just saving face with that by that point though, wasn't he? It was just like,
He's so
"I know
funny.
it's really good because I mixed it." I think what drove me off the wall was literally is the glass and then trying to put the chili pepper rim on the glass. I was like, "For fuck's sake, what are
Oh
you
my
doing?"
goodness, you're
Just
right.
put it oh god.
Yeah, have they
Yeah,
never,
that one
like these men and the cookies were the most I mean, they were charcoal on the
they
bottom.
were charcoal, yeah, yeah.
It was like, have these men, none of them ever been in a kitchen before? Like, dear God.
I mean, it's like, how hard is it to mix up batter for a cookie?
And then you should have a timer. Like, was somebody not paying attention? I think they got into the alcohol too much.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, there was quite a few cuts in it where it's just like, "We'll be back momentarily."
Oh, that's hysterical. Yeah. And at the very end, I think it warmed my heart because you and I had just talked about this, I think, in the last episode that Sammy needs to have the light stick from Epic High because we were talking
Yeah,
about the Rose's new light stick. And they
yeah.
gave him and Jaehyun one of their light sticks, which is the middle finger, if people aren't familiar with Epic High, which is totally Sammy's thing. And he looked like a kid at Christmas.
You did, which is very, very sweet.
He
Very, very
was
sweet
just,
indeed.
like, beaming the whole time. I said to you, I feel like he looked like the dorky little kid with these big, like, friends, that were, like, so cool around your
It's
cool
like
friends, and he's
me.
the little dork.
Which says it all because the 3 of them are the biggest dorks you'd ever want to meet in your life anyway.
Oh my gosh,
I
yes.
f I f I fell down the rabbit warren of watching some of the videos this morning, and I was like at one point, I literally got tears rolling down my face thinking, with Tableau going, look at the snow, and then face planting 3 seconds later.
Yeah, if any listeners aren't familiar with Epic High, their content is hysterical. I mean, not only are they
So
tremendous
good.
music
So
artists,
good.
but their content is they are just really funny.
They are
They're
so
very
funny.
down to earth, individuals, just like the Rose is. So there's a lot of similarities there between the groups, and I think that's why there's such a connection
Yeah.
with Sammy and Epic High, and again, them wanting to look out for the Rose and, take care of their little brother, little Dongsang. It was really cute, but that was fun. That was fun to see. All right, Kelly, why don't you wrap us up with kind of our last hot take with, again, some more of the rock artists and what's happening across the industry.
Yeah, so 2 other bits of news. YB have teamed up with Extraordinary Heroes and they've done a collaboration single called Rebellion. So if you're into the heavier spectrum of rock and metal and things like that, you'll really enjoy this. It's a really good track. I played it for Fletch, my keyboard player, and he was like, that is fat. So for him to describe it as fat, you know it's a good track. And also, DPR Ian is also playing at the Head in the Clouds Festival at the Rose Bowl in LA, and that is on May the 31st and June the 1st. They haven't confirmed what day he's actually playing, but yeah, that will be a really good one. So it's primarily Korean artists, but there seems to be a really good mix of different types of acts on there as well. So that's, if you're in the LA area, I think that's definitely one to go and check out.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl. I mean, that's a pretty big venue.
Yeah, it's a really decent venue.
Yeah, he's popping up a lot. We were just saying that he's going to be performing on February 22nd in Bangkok. So, like the same day you're seeing the Rose.
I think he's going to hit the festival circuit quite hard this year.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. All right. Well, that's it for our hot takes. We're going to dive into the rest of the songs on the Dawn album. Now we're going to do our deep dive into the remaining songs on the Dawn album. And we're going to start, Kelly, with the third song on the album, which is Take Me Down. And I think we both feel the same way about
fucking
this song.
love this song.
I fucking love this song.
I love it so much.
I think before we did this deep dive, I already liked the song. So like I had this like appreciation for the song. Like I used to, enjoy it when it came on in my rotation. But now after really listening to the instrumentation and going into the lyrics, I just fucking love this song. But I have beef with the Rose.
I have beef with the Rose.
I always talk to them like they're gonna someday listen to this podcast. So
Can I ask a question? What's the vegetarian? Because I'm vegetarian. So what's the vegetarian equivalent of having beef with them?
What's the vegetarian equivalent? I don't know.
Do I have to have a nut roast with them?
An eggplant? Y'all eat eggplant.
No, I am not having eggplant with them.
I've got eggplant with the Rose.
I'm not having eggplant with anybody.
I've got a portobello mushroom with the Rose. Right? Don't you guys eat portobello mushrooms like they're hamburgers? Like that's a replacement.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
All right, there we go. That's it.
There you go. I've got a portobello mushroom.
Dojun, I'm talking to you. Woo-sung, I'm talking to you. Jaehyun, I'm talking directly to you. And Hajuni, I love you, but I'm talking to you. Where is the instrumental of this song? Why was it not track 6 on this EP? And I demand you release it now. I know this thing exists. We need it. We deserve it. The instrumentation on this song is incredible. And the fact that there's no instrumental version to really highlight that is a crime. It is a crime, an utter crime.
Look, to be perfectly right, let me just put this out.
Are you defending them? Stop, Kelly.
No. It is a crime. We should have an instrumental version of this. Oh, there's only one person that commits crimes in this band, and it's a crime against fashion. We'll get onto this later. That's the only crime that's ever committed. Crimes against fashion.
Sammy and his crimes against fashion.
Don't mention the Crocs. What the fuck are they? Why the fuck would you ever wear Crocs?
Oh, he loves his Crocs. He loves his Crocs.
Why?
Okay, so back to
Back
my
to
rant. You're taking away from my rant
Go
on
on,
the
I'm
fact
sorry.
that
I'm
we need
sorry.
an instrumental version of "Take Me Down." Listeners, I'm telling you right now, you guys need to stream this song and just really sit in this song. It is an incredible song. I think fans like it. Like, I do think people like me, enjoyed it before, but now after our deep dive, I really hope you're going to come away with a newfound respect and appreciation for the musicianship in this song. So start breaking down all of the songwriting, arrangement, and so forth for us, Kelly.
Right, so songwriting, arranging, and composing is all done by the Rose. As you would expect, drums by Hajun, the bass is by Jae Hong, the electric guitars are by Woo Sung and Jae Hong, and the chorus is by Kim Hon Ye and the Rose again. The recording engineer was Choi Jae Hong at W Studios, with Shin Dongju doing the drums at Tone Studio, and the bass again being done by Choi Hon Jun at the MOT Studio. Mixing was done at W Sound, and the master engineering was done at 821 Sound as well. So they've obviously stuck to the same things for recording. They've not hopped around studios for it. This song is in D major. It's 90 beats per minute. They don't deviate much on this entire EP sound wise, speed wise. It is all pretty much 4/4 all the way through as well. The piano chords and the vocal choral section are a little bit of a weird way to start a track.
Yeah,
There,
I
there
love
are
it.
there are artists that do that, and it kind of reminds me of Keane, which
Mm,
again falls back into the sort of Brit rock
mm,
leanings at this time. I don't necessarily think the Brit rock's ever gone away. It is the core foundation of a lot of their sound, but they are they tend to work quite heavily with piano because piano is their
mhm,
main instrument. But it's an interesting way of getting into a track as well.
mhm.
Um, so the drums on this, oh my God,
Here we go. Get the
Hajan.
drinking. Listeners, will give you a pause in case the drink isn't ready. Go get that,
Whatever you're
drink
drinking,
responsibly,
it
of
needs to be
age, but
it needs to be a triple, I think, this one. Whether or not it's no, but whether or not it's a triple hot chocolate.
shot, 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 shots.
Yeah, a hot chocolate, a coffee, a cup of Yorkshire tea. For God's sake, if you're having tea, do it properly.
Do it properly.
The kettle needs to boil first. You put it on the tea bag, you let it stew, and then you add the milk.
Can I say something that might end our relationship? Because I might have taken it, maybe this is a step too far, because I already told you in last episode that I don't like Harry Potter, and I don't know that you'll ever look at me the same way again after I admitted that, but oh my God, I'm gonna say this out loud, and I don't know if okay, I'll just do it. I
Go on.
heat my water up in the microwave when I make
No! No! Bad. You buy a kettle.
I
You
I
do not heat water up in a microwave because it won't.
is
Oh, no, no,
is
no, no,
this
no.
the equivalent of Sammy and Dojun starting the milk first, cereal first debate where Sammy
Yes.
looked at Dojun like he really felt betrayed? Are you looking at
Yes.
me that way now that
Yes.
our friendship has been tested?
In one of my favourite comedians' way of saying it, you do not microwave water.
Okay,
You boil water.
I
It's in the whole idea of it. You boil the water.
all right, maybe,
No,
for
no, you're
my
not. You're not.
birthday this year, you could get me a proper kettle.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'll get. Do you need a stovetop kettle? Are we talking gas or
I
ceramic
have
or
a gas
electric
stove.
or induction?
Is
Or do you
there
want a
I do have a
plug-in
gas
one?
stove, so
You see, it's a whole new world. I mean, we have kettles over here that have separate temperatures dependent on what tea it is you're actually doing.
oh, oh my.
Yes, because green has to be a different temperature to black.
I just do 2 minutes in the microwave.
Not 2 minutes in the microwave, dear God. Dear God,
Okay,
2 minutes in the microwave.
Back to Lee Ha-joon. We were singing his praises and encouraging our listeners to enjoy some drinking with this. Go back to his gorgeous drums. I'm sorry, I took us away.
Killed me. You've killed me
It
dead.
killed your soul just slightly.
My soul is now a black hole. I can't cope with it anymore. I'm now dead.
Damn
Anyway,
Americans.
God. And then what do? You buy tea and you throw it in the bloody harbour. You've all got problems. And I mean, that water was definitely too cold. It was never going to brew thrown in the harbour. It needs to be boiled, for crying out loud. Right. So we're now going to get back on to the beautiful, 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 beautiful drum beat that is in this. Now, I sat and listened to this and I sat and scratched my head and I was like, I know what this is. I know what type of rhythm this is. And then I sort of my brain started going, is it? Isn't it? Is it? Isn't it? So the other night, I actually rang my drummer up, Matt, Mr. Bloor, and went, Matt, please listen to this, will you? What bloody drum beat is this? And he just went, shit, I don't know off the top of my head. This is a guy that's been playing drums since he was 8.
Wow, so he couldn't recognize it either.
He did. He just couldn't think of the name for it. So it is a 4/4 calypso beat. And that is why you get this really gorgeous rhythm with it. It's primarily used in R&B, so it's quite weird that it's used in a rock song. But it's great. But one of the other things I want to say in this is I don't know who set up Ha-joon's drum kit. I imagine it was himself. I'd be very surprised at this point if he'd got somebody setting the kit up for him like he will do now out on tour. But whoever did it, it is a masterclass in the balance and the tuning of a drum kit. Because what most people won't be aware of is the skins on a drum kit have to be tuned. And that's top and bottom. So you have skins on the top of the tom and at the bottom of the tom. And that's on every single one. And they all have to be tuned individually. And that's how you get different sounds as you play around the kit.
So does that mean that as a drummer, like you might need to have even better of an ear to maybe other instruments that people might play? Like, is there something special then in your ear and how you're hearing the tuning on a drum?
So you can buy a piece of equipment like you can for guitars to help you tune.
Okay, so you don't have to rely on your ear.
Most drummers do, to be
Okay.
perfectly honest. Most drummers do. But the piece of equipment literally it sits on top of the actual skin and it has a small needle at the bottom. And as you tap, it tells you the tension of the skin. But if any of you have actually seen a drum kit up close, you have multiple Allen keys around the outside that you tighten, and each has to be individually tightened. It can take, if you have to reskin a drum kit, I've had to do it once. Dear God, I don't ever want to do that again. It takes hours.
Wow.
So
You
fair
could
enough,
really hear in this song how well his drum kit was tuned.
The drum kit sound is spectacular. It's tight as a pin all the way through. It is absolutely beautiful. It's got such a lovely, lovely sound to it. And when I made Matt listen to it, he was just like, "It's a great drum sound. This is a really great drum sound." And he's quite pernickety how drum sounds. And he was just like, "No, no, no, that's really good." So for him to
That's such a
sing the
compliment
praises,
then to Ha-joon. Yeah.
oh yeah. Well, especially when you bear in mind, I mean, Matt's sort of concept of drumming is bands like I Prevail. So when he turns around and he goes, "Dear God, no, he's good," and they're like, "There you go."
I think it goes back to something you said in episode 1 of how underrated Ha-joon is just as a drummer, across like music, like he's tremendous, isn't he?
He is, and I think literally the fact that he's a quiet guy
He
as
is
well.
quiet, yeah.
He isn't one of those that's sort of out there and in your face. Because
He isn't.
I always think you get two types of drummers. You get a drummer that hits things, and they're normally the loud, gregarious ones that tend to get all of the limelight and shine. And then you actually get the musicians.
Mhm.
and they're the ones that understand rhythm, and they tend to be a little bit more introspective and quieter, calmer
Yeah.
people. Um, and yeah, and he falls into that category. And it's about time the world started to notice him because
I
he is good.
know. He is so good, and I just think he's such a pure musician. Like, I was watching old footage, for diving into these early album reviews, and somebody asked him or asked the group early on, like, "What would you do if you weren't a musician?" You know, those kind of
Yeah,
questions,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I feel like he in particular, like, he just was like, "I can't even fathom." Like, what I would do. I wouldn't do anything else. Like, I think he's just probably always had his eye on music.
Yeah.
As
Well,
we said before, he studied at university, in music, you know? So, yeah, he's such a pure musician.
I've just pulled up the conversation that I had with Matt, my drummer, and he used this line and he just went, Hajin is definitely one of those good drummers that forgoes flashiness to play what is just right for the song.
Ooh, oh my god, Matt, hot take.
Mm.
Matt's gonna get quoted in this episode.
I did ask him if I could quote him. He was like, yeah, that's fine.
I think that's a phenomenal compliment from a fellow drummer.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
because Matt is the man of the nod. He is one of those where we all look at each other, and if Matt's doing the muso nod, you know you're all right.
Oh, wow. Yeah, way to go, Hajun. The Rose is so lucky that you're part of their group. Yeah, for sure.
It's quite strange actually because I mean I can hear the drummers as well that he's taken sort of
Mhm.
influence from, and I can hear Tico Torres in there from
You've said that
Bon Jovi.
before. Mhm.
I can hear that in there, and I think it's the way he sets his kit up as well, and the way he plays,
Mhm.
and especially with this calypso, because the type of random thing that Tico would throw into Bon Jovi tracks as well back in the day.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I love what you said about how it starts with that single piano chord and then the chorus that's doing that background singing that
Mm,
oh, and I love that in the notes you had on like who's singing the chorus, the rows are named there. So it must have been all four of them around the
mhm.
mic, you know, doing those oh. I think it instantly evokes a melancholy feeling. Does that come from the D major key?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's
I'm
why.
learning. I'm learning, Kelly.
And also the fact that you've got 4 guys singing it.
How does that
It's
impact it?
I think as soon as you put a woman's voice into there, it adds a slight different tonality to what you
Mm,
get with a man's voice. So, I mean, if I did that, even though my voice is, I hate to say it, singing voice is actually comparable with theirs, because I'm in a similar octave range as them, yeah, it would sound different because my tone is different as a female to what
mhm.
theirs is as males. But yeah, I think that bit's wonderful. I really do. And as I said, it's very keen like.
Mhm. I think my favorite part is about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So, like, at this part, the melody gets all stripped back, again, just down to the piano, and there's this drum, and then this pushing of the tempo, and then the
Mm,
guitar comes back in, and then really, like, the tempo just continues to build and push until the vocals come back, and then that kind of pushes you as the listener to what I feel like is like the climax like
yeah.
of the song where the chorus O's come back in and it's just you know we're going to go into the lyrics but I said in my notes kind of the final part of that melody to me mirrors the heaviness that are in the lyrics
Yeah.
but I'll talk more about what I mean by that when we talk about the lyrics but
The
what's your thought about the ending of this song?
One of the things I love about this, so we're on about that build at like 2:30, is you get this
Mhm.
circular piano motif.
Mm.
And you also get the guitar motif, which is almost circular. Because in fact, actually, you'll see Sammy doing it when they play. He tends to spin when he's
Yeah.
doing when he's doing it. It's like, okay, what are you doing, you weird man? Uh,
He gets, like,
um,
in the you're right about the performances, when they do this song, he gets, like, kinda hyped.
he gets really
Um,
hyped when he's
he
doing it,
gets,
but
like, really
it's
hyped.
great. It's a
Yeah.
great bit of guitar, and these two motifs are beautiful. But they get
Mhm.
this circular motion. But the thing I like about it is it's almost like it's like a circular motion of like falling. It's like being pulled in. It's almost like going
Mm.
down a drain.
Which
It's like
connects
that.
to the lyrics. totally
Exactly.
connects to the
Which is,
lyrics.
I don't want to keep singing the bloody praises, but damn, it was clever
I
that.
I know, and I think, like, yeah, like, just going back to things we said in She's in the Rain, and this is another example of where how they developed the melody and the instrumentation, and then the lyrics, they, like, complement each other. You know,
Mm.
they're allowing the music to kinda take you as the listener in a similar journey that the lyrics are taking you.
Yes.
Again, being how amazing if we as listeners could have gotten a stripped back version of this without the vocals to be able to,
I just love to listen
really sit in that
to the track.
instrumentation.
I just want to listen to the drum track. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's so,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so good. All right, let's go into the lyrics because I just love the lyrics, and I've got kind of a hot take in terms of, again, some of the translations here.
Well, I
So tell
mean,
me your first thought.
yeah, I mean, so for me, just as an overview of the lyrics, it feels very much about walls and barriers that we raise. Life throws these things at us, and we all create this sort of barrier towards other people. And I sometimes wonder if that's kind of the idea of take me down as well,
Mhm.
because it's this barrier, because we need to pull these barriers down. And when you create barriers, there's a cold aloofness that sometimes comes with it.
Yeah.
I can't say anything. I can come across as a very aloof person. You know, some people will
Mm.
sort of call it black cat energy. It's me just being an arsehole, to be perfectly honest. I don't realise I'm
You
doing it.
you said this before, and I think you share this a little bit with Woo-sung because he talked about this in his Mindset podcast, as well. He talked about how he's put these walls up
Mm,
around himself and that he can, and I personally think this about him, he can come off very cold, intense,
mm,
aloof, but on the inside, right, you and Woo-sung are extremely kind, generous, amazing humans, softies. But I think he has that same, wall that he puts up. And I wonder if that was some inspiration for him in this
I
song.
think it is. I mean, to me, that's how I read it, and I read it as somebody that can
Mhm.
come off as aloof. A lot of the time, people, if you ever meet me and I come across as aloof, it's not because I am aloof. It's generally speaking because my brain's going do 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 do, and I don't know what the fuck is happening. But I sometimes come off that way. Just poke me in the side of the head and go, "You're being aloof, stupid woman," because I don't realise I'm doing it, and I'm quite sure that Sam is exactly the same. But you build walls up because it's there to protect you.
Mhm.
It comes as this thing of, I always joke that I don't have walls. I have a full-on battlement with a moat and a Bailey Castle and a drawbridge and murder holes.
Yeah.
But I've now got to the part in my life that if I like you, I'll allow you to get a ladder.
Oh, Kelly, I'm the drawbridge. I just throw myself on you and walk right over whether you
Are
want me
you
there or not.
I mean, if we're doing a proper history lesson here, you just come in and undermine.
Oh, I
I'm gonna dig, 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 dig. We're
yeah,
gonna get in there
I
one way or another.
exactly. That's how I am. I just wiggle my way into you people like you and Sammy that have this hard exterior. I'm just gonna
I
work
don't
work
have a
my way
heart ex
down, there work you down. Um,
Oh, come on, we all know
well,
I'm a mushy bucket.
I I think these lyrics, I think we said this in our episode Into the Void when we were talking about ILY. These lyrics are like a poem to me. They really
Yes.
read like a poem. Um, and I think there's so many themes in this song of regret and loss and like the pain of trying to move on. I see this song as it's like taking you as a listener through this journey of kind of closure, trying to find closure, and how you're you're trying to set yourself free from kind of the pain, and how they use this metaphor of chains, which I think,
Yeah.
again, just like the rain and she's in the rain and that being a metaphor of pain, I think these chains that they use is so beautifully done.
But don't you
Um,
find that the concept of chain of pain, I mean, it's like a totality of finality. It's like it's that final thing that can never be broken because that is just how much has been built up and how much you've surrounded yourself with these barriers.
yeah.
You've created your own chain of pain by going through whatever you've gone through.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think
and
this was written as a, I think you're right. I think this was actually written as a poem. I don't
oh,
think
it
this was a line
really
here and a line there and a line there. I think it was written as a
yeah.
follow-on continuation.
Completely, completely. I mean, I think, like, just some of let me bring up the lyrics and we can read some of the most, like, poignant ones. "Completely overgrown your scars,
Yeah.
closing the door to your heart like a child, no matter how hard you try, already it's, too late." One of the things I wanted to point out, and it kind of goes to when you're saying this chain of this totality and extreme. As I was doing my own translation of the lyrics, I happened to notice the use of a verb, Pauline. And so it's all throughout the lyrics in the Korean lyrics. And it's a derivative or a conjugation of porida, which when you add that verb to another verb, it creates a compound verb. And this is the beauty of the Korean language. It adds a nuance that I noticed
Mm,
that when you just put the phrase in something like Papago or Google Translate, it tells you exactly what it means literally, but what
mm,
it can't tell you is what "보린" does to that verb. And what
yeah,
it does is it implies that the action that's being done is done to the extreme. It
yeah.
implies a sense of finality to whatever that verb is describing. So it goes right into what you said. So if you see where it's used when they say, "My mistake that is completely carved into my mind." I think that was like a really poignant part. If I could break free like a fire that has been completely extinguished in my heart that has grown completely cold. So every time it's used, there's this sense of finality and kind of to the extreme of all of
Mm,
these verbs. And I feel like that goes right into that heaviness I talked about, right? Of like
yeah.
how I felt that in the melody, there's this heaviness weighing down. And I think that comes through in this. Again, like I would have never have like realized that only by looking at something like genius.com. And I just wanted to share that with our listeners because I think that gives an added depth to
Oh, definitely.
yeah, to the meaning behind these
Mm.
lyrics.
Yeah, most definitely. And I like his sort of taking of the usage of tattoos as scars.
Love that line. Deep tattoo, my mistake that is completely carved into my mind. It just evokes to me, it's a powerful metaphor of trauma, of
Yeah.
how your past trauma leaves this permanent mark in your heart, in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think anybody you speak to as well that has tattoos, unless they got it on a drunken night somewhere, if it's done with intent and purpose, they are
Mhm.
all to indicate some milestone in your life. Generally
Mhm.
speaking, proper tattoos done with proper conviction are all for that in the literal sense.
Mhm.
So when he's taking this from a metaphorical sense, it's the scarring and it's that deep traumatic scarring that never leaves you.
Yeah.
Scars sometimes become slightly faded and you can cover them up, but they're always there.
Mhm. What do you think of how in the chorus it changes from "Take me now, please undo my chain of pain" to "Take me down"? What do you think kind of they're saying, or what do you interpret as like the difference between they're using "Take Me Down" and like "Take Me Now"?
I think the "Take Me Now" is it's that last sort of plead.
Mm.
It's that last, "Come on, is this" it's the question of, "Is this final?"
Mhm.
And then the "Take me down" is, "Dear God, it is, I've been rebooked."
Yeah.
It's that level of, "I've been knocked back and I have been taken down. My wings have been clipped."
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I would agree with that because like the line, "Can you take me down? I'm under cold rain again." There's that rain coming
mhm,
back, into their lyrics. "If I could only avoid it, like becoming dull. Can you take me down? Speaking in harsh tone, our view changed. Like the seasons flow." And then that's that line we said, "Deep tattoo, my mistake that's completely
mm,
carved mind." Like it just, again, like we said, it reads so poetically.
mm.
So poetically.
Um,
It is beautifully written.
you
Yes.
tend to find with lyrics, and I'm saying this from my own point of view because I write the lyrics for the band. You tend to write lyrics in three ways. So I'll be driving to work 6:30 in the morning, and I'll get a line into my head, and it'll be,
Mm.
and I apologize to anybody who may have something in the background that may hear this, but it'll be, "Hey Google, can you just make a note for me?" And I will literally, I'll
Yeah.
get that note made as I'm driving wherever I'm driving. There will be days where I sit and I write, and will like this. I think this is how this is written. I will literally write a poem.
Mhm.
You'll have repetitive stanzas within there that become chorus, but generally speaking, it's a flow of consciousness.
Mhm.
And then you will have other bits where you're sat listening to music, and part of it will come to you. And then you will sort of take lyrics that you've had stored away and you put those on
Mm.
like building blocks. So they're the three ways I work. And I
Yeah.
think Sammy kind of works in a similar way, I
I
think.
think he
I might
does
be very wrong.
too. I think he does too. I'm piecing together in my mind as you're talking little clips I've seen of him and all the content, and I think this was an In the Bloom episode, so this would have been the time, yes, because they were working on the Duel album, and they were on a trip to Japan. I don't
They're in Japan, weren't they? Was it
Yeah,
when they
who
went
were
to
they going to
see
see? Who
One
was
OK
it?
Rock?
One OK Rock, that's right,
Mm.
that's right, yes! They were going to that concert, and he's just, like, writing in his phone, he's just, like, like, noodling away, and the guy on the camera is like, "What are you doing?" And he's just like, I got this lyric," and so I think he does, I think these, like, lines come into his head, and then he puts them down, and then I guess when he can work them together, he can use them as inspiration for future
Mhm.
songs, like, yeah. I just think he thinks so poetically. He
Yeah,
really does.
yeah.
Yeah, I just get fascinated by his mind and how he thinks. Yeah, and I can't sing enough his praises as a lyricist. He's one of the best in my opinion.
It's
But
alright.
yeah, so I know you hate giving him compliments.
Hey, 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 how many compliments have I given so far today?
Oh, no, no, no. This song though, back to why we both said at the beginning, we love this fucking song. And so
I do. I love it.
I hope our journey through our deep dive will give you all a newfound respect and appreciation of the musicianship, but also the poeticness of the lyrics. Again, I'm going to try to make my English translations available to all of you so that you can read through them yourself and be able to, I think, understand that nuance. All right, so let's move on to the next song. Bulmyeongjung, which is Insomnia. So I'll kick us off with kind of breaking this one down, Kelly. Songwriting the Rose, arrangement the Rose, composing the Rose. Just as we've been saying with all the songs on the Dawn album, drums Hajun, bass Jaehyun, electric guitar Woo-sung, Jaehyun chorus, Kim Hyuna and Hajun and Jaehyung, and then recording done at Tone Studio, mixing W Studio, and master engineering done at One Studio. So all the same places as you said
Mhm.
throughout this album. Now we were laughing a little bit about this song. I kind of think we both might have some interesting feelings about this song But why don't you break down the melody for us?
I'll break down the melody and then I will give my feelings later on. Um, so it's E flat and it's 74 beats per minute. There's a really subtle, beautiful use of a whammy bar
What is the
on the
whammy
guitar.
bar? What is that?
Right. The whammy bar is a piece of metal. It's like a little metal arm that goes into without getting too technical, that goes into the bottom of the strings. So on an electric guitar, you have a metal bridge
Oh,
at the
okay, okay.
bottom and it goes into there. And the whammy allows the bridge to flex and bend and it creates a ooh sound
Mm,
because you are very subtly increasing and decreasing the length of the string.
okay.
And there's a lot of guitarists, so like Jimi Hendrix, for example, lived by the whammy bar. You'll hear it in a lot of 80s hair metal guitar solos. You'll hear that
Oh,
type of
okay,
thing.
okay.
Yeah. But this is very subtly done. It's really tiny and it's just in there, but it's really quite nice. And it's a nice addition to the song because it allows it to move the song forward because otherwise we'd be sat in limbo with this song if that wasn't there.
Mm,
There's a really nice key change for the bridge which allows them to regroup and then that gives it that wonderful power drive that Sammy's got. Sammy's trick on this EP is overdriving vocals. So he'll sing at a level and then he'll kick in an overdrive. So that is
mm,
when you lift the actual vocal and you add power and you push the power up and you go up the notes as well. He does that a lot in this
mm,
entire EP, to be perfectly honest, but it's a lovely trick and it works really well with his voice. So that goes into the chorus again, bass line. Oh, Jay, bass lines really
mm,
lovely. There's a fantastic progression towards the end of the track. um for me that could have come in earlier and it might have actually allowed a little bit more development with the track as well.
mhm.
But it gives that bit of interest towards the end and that little bit more push. So for me, it's kind of Britpop light. I think there's slight leanings of the script in this as well. There's a little bit. And then every now and again I keep getting Three Doors Down and I don't know where that comes from.
Mm.
There's Three Doors
I
Down
don't
as well.
I'll say, like, I hate to say this. It's not that I wouldn't say I don't like this song. This isn't California level for me, but it's not, you know what? There's something about this song that just falls flat to me. So I feel like in all the other songs we talked about, there's this level of emotion that the song really conjures out of me as the listener. And this one's not so much.
I
It falls
it
flat. I think that's the best thing I can say. I mean, the best way to describe it, excuse me.
as the best Harry Potter quote that I can think of to
Oh, here
describe
we go.
this. It has the emotional range of a teaspoon.
Yeah, like, I don't know, and I think my favorite part starts at about 2 minutes and 30 seconds kinda through the end. It's a long song. This is a 4-minute song.
Yeah, it's a really, really long song,
I
and
think that's
yet
the other thing, it's too long.
it is too long. It could have been a 2.5 minute wonder. In and
Yeah, like
out. That's all we need.
yeah, I know, I think that maybe leads to some of how it falls kind of flat. I put in my notes at 3 minutes, around 3 minutes, like, all the instrumentation's kinda stripped, and you have Woo-sung's pleading vocals. I might argue they're more whiny
They're
vocals.
whi they're whiny.
He's whining constantly in this song, and it come where in, Take Me Down, I think there's in these and even in the other songs, I think, I Don't Know You, there's a pleading to their vocals. This one comes off very whiny to
It
me.
actually sounds like a toddler that needs its 3 o'clock nap.
Yeah, and
I just it's like, "Come on, are we really that
when he
tired?
goes
Do you need your nap?
oh
Let
my
me get
god,
you bok and you can have a nap."
when he goes, "I can't sleep."
I know, I'm tired, and he's just like,
Oh
"Yeah, we
my
get the
god.
idea, mate. Go and have a
Something
nap."
something about how he sings that comes off, it kinda grates on my
It
ear, I'm not going to
grates
lie. I
on
can't
me
believe these
as
words are
well.
coming out of my mouth about Kim Woo-sung. I don't what am I in the Twilight Zone?
Do 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 do.
I mean, I'm a card-carrying member of the Delulus, but, like, come on, I can't sleep, like, I wanna
This
be like, "Dude, just take a melatonin and go to bed."
have some chamomile tea, but
Get some
first boil the water.
I'll go back there and I'll take a
Do
shower.
not do not put it in the fucking microwave. Boil the
So
water and have a chamomile tea with a spot of honey, darling.
okay, the best part of the song to me is I do like the very end when all the instrumentation is gone and you're only left with Woo-song and he whispers, "Chaljanetto," which means, like, it's over. I know it's over.
Yes.
I think that's, like, the best part of the whole song to me.
It is the best part of the whole song, and when you're saying the last seconds of the song are the best parts of
Yeah.
like, the worst review ever.
Do you
I
skip this one? Do you skip this if it
I do skip this one.
You know what?
I've had to listen to this a lot for this, and I'm just like,
Is it the most
"Yeah."
you ever listened to it
It's
just for this review?
it's the most I've ever listened to it.
I yeah. Okay,
I'm
yeah.
not a fan, and I know there's people out there that absolutely love this, so, let me just point this out. Opinions are like arseholes. Everybody has one, and some of them just stink. So if you think our opinion stinks, there you go. But I just skipped this song. I'm so sorry.
You know, I think this is what happens with this song when it comes on in my rotation. I don't realize what song it is until, like, I get the, "I can't sleep," and then I'm like, "Ah," but I'm too lazy to hit skip by this point, so I just,
No,
like,
but
let it ride.
it reminds me of when I was little. I've got a younger brother, and my little brother would walk in and he'd go, "Kelly, I can't sleep." That's what it always reminds me of. It's just having to like go, "Oh, just get in the bed and go to
Oh.
sleep." Having to go and read him a bedtime story.
Oh my gosh, it's so
That
funny.
was that was back in the days when he was cute and not 6'3".
Oh my gosh. I think though, aside from his whining that he can't sleep, I do if we can talk about the lyrics of the song, like, I do think there's some, again, good lyricism.
Oh,
It's just
yeah,
the
definitely.
delivery of it I don't like.
Are you saying that Sammy's a bit of a whiny little bitch on this?
You are really trying to get Sassy Sammy to come at us. Oh my gosh. Oh
No,
my
I'm not.
gosh.
No, I'm not.
Just go
Literally.
away. Stay here in my heart. That part is whiny too.
I mean,
Oh,
literally, if you heard it, you were like, "For God's sake, go away!"
yeah, yeah. But what I like about the lyrics in that part though, I kinda like the contradiction because I think to me the lyrics are very relatable. It's like back to kind of a little bit of like I don't know you where it's like you can't stop thinking about this person,
Yeah,
and you're like can't sleep obviously because you're just thinking about them. And it's this like contradiction. Just go away. So it's like I want you to get out of my mind,
but
but then he
stay
says,
with me.
"But stay here in my heart." So then it's like,
I know.
you do kind of want to keep that pain because you kind of like thinking about
Yeah.
them. I think my favorite line is when he says, "Without fail, I can't sleep for thinking about you. Even if it's a dream or a nightmare, I want to see you." So basically, he's kind of saying, like, I am willing to have a nightmare because at least you're in it, right? Like, at least you're there with me. Um, yeah. So I like that aspect of the song. I think, again,
The
lyrically,
the guy's got issues. He's got more issues than Vogue.
oh my gosh, but the way he delivers it is not my favorite. His singing style
No.
in this is not my
And
favorite.
and and the worst thing is I think it was a conscious decision to sound like that as well.
Well, I agree. I think the intention was for him and Dojun to come off as like, "You're pleading, you're just desperate, for this person," but I just think he didn't hit the mark on that one in this song.
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that might just be us as people.
I mean, listeners, let us know what you think. Who are the people out there that this is your favorite jam and, tell us why we're wrong. So, send us
I'm
send us comments, let us know.
I mean, there are plenty of women out there that find that sort of male pleading thing quite a turn on, to put it that way. I don't know who they are because I find it a bit weird.
I mean, I think I'd rather him say to me, "Let me travel you," than, "I can't sleep."
Oh, I literally, literally, I've literally got Sammy now at about 5 going, "I can't sleep."
Sleep. Oh my god. I feel like I can't get this out of my head now. It's, like, kinda
That's
stuck
gonna
in
that's
his
gonna be stuck in your head now, isn't
his
it? Um,
whiny little voice.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, though, I mean, just like from an over perspective of the lyrics, there is nothing worse than an empty bed when you're used to having that impression of
Mm.
somebody next to you.
Yeah.
And that's that feeling of isolation, and it brings that wandering mind, and that brings that sort of questioning as well, because it might not be the fact that you want that body next to you that created that impression. The nightmare might be the fact that that person is still next to you,
Mm.
but it's still very strange to going from having that connection, that closeness, because there's something very primal and very just being human about having the closeness of another body next to yours. I mean, so one of the reasons we hug, the whole idea of hugging, and I think this is why women probably get more from hugging each other, is when you hug somebody, you put your heart against their heart.
Mm.
You'll notice with a lot of men, they don't. They tend to do the whole grasp hands thing, and the
Mhm.
fist goes between the two hearts
Mm.
because they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
get that closeness. But that's the reason we hug. It's that closeness, and it goes back to being in the womb, that closeness, and that's what we all crave at the end of the day. Yeah, so I mean, I get that. I understand where the pleading comes from and where the idea of the insomnia comes from,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
why they can't sleep because they're thinking of whoever was there who now isn't there.
Right.
And sometimes it is better to have the nightmare of them still being in your life
Right, right.
if it's ended badly, because it's sometimes it might feel slightly better than it's better than being alone. But we obviously know, actually, do you know what? Actually, you're in a better place to be alone if you're
Yeah.
happy.
As Sammy says, "Happy alone."
There you go. There you go. And many of us
Yeah.
can attest to that.
Yeah, I'm with
um,
you. I think the lyric content is good quality. I think even just, again, some of the lines that we shared are well-written lyrics. It's just, I don't know, the delivery.
one of the thing again, this is one of the things that pisses me off on this, is the refrain of "I'm stupid,"
Mm.
and it's used again in this,
Mm.
and it's this echo of an argument, and it's stuck in a
Yeah, let
loop,
me
and
find
it's
that.
not.
Yeah, here it is. So the
There you go.
section, well, right after he's whining, "I can't sleep. Please hold me. I can't sleep. We'll go back. I know I'm stupid. What should I do?"
Yeah, and it's that thing again of "I'm stupid." It's that echo of an argument, and it's that
Mhm.
person telling him that he's stupid that's stuck in his head. So it's that scar of an argument that is stuck and replaying on a loop.
Yeah, or is he
And
saying too, like, "I know I'm stupid, like, I know it's stupid to be stuck, in this place where I can't move on and I can't stop thinking about you."
he uses "I'm stupid" though in another track as well, doesn't he?
Was it in something on Into
It's
the
on
Void?
Void. It's in Void somewhere, and I can't remember what song it is. But it feels like to me, and it's like but it's like, I'm stupid because you told me I'm stupid. So what do I do to
Mm,
rectify it? It's that it's that old adage of help me, help you, but you need to tell me what I've done wrong because I don't actually know
mhm.
what I've done wrong. Um, yeah, I don't really
Yeah.
like that.
You don't kinda like that
No.
usage. Yeah.
But again, that's a personal thing that relates back to just me and my preference and who
Yeah.
I am as a person.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I again, I always think like, I wonder what they think of this song now, looking back at their discography. I don't know that they even play this one in sound checks like they do with some from the Void album or the Dawn album. Do you? Do you think
No,
they
thank
play
the
this one?
gods.
I'm gonna request it.
No, please don't. Please don't request it.
Can I hear you whine, "I can't sleep, please?"
No.
I'd rather hear this over California.
I love California. We've already had this
I
conversation.
know, I can't
At
wait
least
till we do.
California is fun.
At least California is fun. Yes. I will
This
say
is
that.
this is
Yeah.
just whiny little bitch. I need to sleep.
Yeah, this is him whining and he needs to take a melatonin and just go to bed earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn off your phone. Don't have any blue lights on. Read a nice book. Don't read anything too sort of over the top.
Yeah, maybe he needs some, like, a white noise machine in the
Or
background.
whale sounds. Whale
Whale
sounds are good.
sounds, Sammy, he likes nature. Nature
Yeah, have whale
sounds.
sounds. That sounds
Yeah,
like a
that'll
nice
help you
idea.
sleep, buddy. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
definitely. Get that sleep and stop whining. All right. I think that wraps up our deep dive into all the songs on the Dawn album. This was a fun exploration, Kelly. I really enjoyed this. I think this is, as we said in our last episode in part one of Dawn, the guys were really proud at this time on how they stepped up their songwriting and their instrumentation. And I think they should have been. I think this was really quality work overall in terms of the songwriting. What's your overall impression?
Think it's a fantastic, fantastic EP, and it's brilliantly, brilliantly done. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a slight issue with that last track. It
Yeah.
feels a bit like it was shoehorned in there. I think it's a really great body of work, and they should be proud because you can see the leaps and bounds in the musicianship and the songwriting. How far it's come on is unreal, to be honest. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. So Dawn, if you listeners don't give the love to these songs, maybe I know everybody has She's in the Rain heavy in their rotation, but give these other songs a listen if you haven't in a while. And I think hopefully our deep dive gives everyone a newfound appreciation and respect. All right, we're gonna wrap up with our humor segment. Okay, this is a fun would you rather because as opposed to the last two that we've done, I tried to pick something that wasn't where you got to pick the lesser of two evils. I was hoping this would be two fun things for us and our listeners. No, you're shaking your head at me, Kelly. What do you mean? You don't think either of these things sounds like amazing in my would you rather?
Oh, just notice you've swapped them.
I did swap it from
Oh,
the earlier one.
you crafty, crafty woman, you.
Because I thought of an even better one since the first one I came up with in the episode notes. So here's the would you rather. Would you rather go out a night of drinking with Sammy and Dojun? You get to go bar hopping through Seoul with them, or have a jam session with Hajun and Jaehyun.
Right, so how do I put this? I don't drink. I'm
Oh,
I tell a lie. I had a drink at one event you were at
I know.
because I had to have a triple whiskey after that. But we will discuss this
At a later
at
episode.
a later episode. And that was the first time I'd had a drink, and I think about 5 years. Um, so yeah, I
You don't
don't
have to
drink.
drink alcohol. You can just go out and hang out with them and watch the two of them
Yeah,
get drunk.
yeah, but what happens is, Kelly then turns into Mary Poppins and then ends up looking after
Oh, okay,
everybody.
that's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Can you
maybe
imagine
not.
how messy them two get after?
Ooh,
No,
no, no.
no. I think I would thoroughly enjoy the jam session with Hajun and Jaehong.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh my god, that'd be so
Oh
good.
my gosh. That'd be incredible.
Yeah.
Fight for your heart. I could be your shield, fighting on the field. Baby, when I let this go down, I'll be a soldier.
You're
I'd
there in the
really
Windfall office.
I'd really
You're just
enjoy
like
that, to be honest.
hanging out, jamming. You get to play their instruments a little bit. You're gonna be up there singing while they're playing. That'd be awesome.
This is the weird thing though, because everybody's like, you get to play their instruments. Every musician will tell you that they prefer their own instruments.
Oh, I'm sure. I can understand
You
that.
really do,
Then you
because
get
you
to bring
just
yours. You get to bring your own.
oh,
Just
there
have
we
a
go. Well,
jam session.
yeah, that's cool. I'll bring my bass.
Yeah. Oh my god, you and Jay can go, like, like, head to head with your bass.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not as I'm nowhere
He
near
can
the
teach you a few of
standard
his
that he
tricks.
is.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
nowhere
that'd be
near the standard
amazing.
he is, but yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going drinking with Sammy and Leo.
Well,
I
we
think
knew
that
that.
oh my god. I think that sounds like the most fun night ever.
I'm gonna look for Leo and Hajin. I want to show you Leo. Where's Leo? Leo 어딨어?
Just went to yeah.
I am drunk. Bye. 갈게 안녕.
Yo, I'm excited to, like, say hi,
Hi.
I'm with, oh shit, what? He just kissed me. I don't like this. Okay.
Leo.
Okay.
No.
I don't like this. I don't
Oh my
like this.
God,
I don't like this.
왔어.
He just,
Oh.
I think you ought to tell the tale of a certain tequila.
Oh my god.
At least this girl drank whiskey.
I have beef. I have a fat portobello mushroom. Sammy. Sammy, if you are listening, dude, you set me up for fucking failure. Coming out on BYOB Pocha with the tequila. I can't even remember what that's called. It's like something azul.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And, I thought that'd be fun. We're a bunch of us there in LA, the Wolf Pack, dinner. Let's have a shot. So I ordered a round of shots on my credit card, Sammy. I don't have that kind of pull like you do. I don't roll like that. My bank account's much more shallow than yours probably is. And when I saw that bill, my eyeballs got the size of saucers. Like, seriously, like, I was like, what the fuck did I just do? And the girl,
It would have been cheaper to buy the bottle.
it would have. Oh my god, it would have.
I nearly bought you a bottle at Christmas and put it in the post.
Oh my god. I was like floored, and I looked at the girls and I was like, this better have been the best fucking tequila you have ever had, because if this shit tasted like crap. And then the bartender almost took the bottle away without us letting us ring the bell. Oh no.
Fucking rude.
I was like, dude, you bringing that back. We ringing that fucking bell. We ringing the bell. Earn that.
There's me stood there with my whiskey like the old man that I am, because obviously, I'd already. It's like, do you want ice with this? Do I fucking want ice with this? Do not water it down. I need this at full strength.
Oh
and then
my
I
goodness.
just turn and I look at your faces, and I'm just like, there's a reason why I'm drinking Black Label.
So I think when I go drinking with Sammy and Leo, I think Sammy needs to pay me back and needs to buy.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to buy me shots of that tequila and get my money
Was
back
it actually
somehow.
any good?
You know what? He's gonna if he ever hears this, he'll cringe. It'll make his skin crawl. But I'm not really a tequila person, so to me, all tequila tastes the same. So I don't know. It wasn't bad, but I
Oh
wasn't like,
dear.
oh my god, this is the best tequila I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, I'm a gin and tonic girl, so just give me Hendrix. It wasn't better than my Hendrix
Oh,
gin.
are you a Mother's Ruin person?
What is that? I don't know what that means.
Mother's Ruin. That's what gin is. So, um, but history lesson. Back in the Georgian times, gin was referred to as mother's ruin because women used to drink it, and there was an epidemic of drunken women in Regency Georgian times.
Well, there you
So
go.
it was this huge running gag, basically.
Yeah, I am gin and tonic, extra lime. Hendrix if you got it, because it's the only
Wow,
gin.
wow. See, the
I
problem is
feel like
it's a good
Sammy
reason I don't drink because my preference in whiskey is very fucking
I
expensive.
feel like Sammy looks like a lightweight, though. Like, I think I could drink him and Dojun under the table,
Do you
so
think it's about 3 bottles of soju and they're gone?
yeah, and I can put away some soju too,
Oh,
so
it's basically pop, isn't it, to be
it
honest?
is, it is, yeah. So, yeah, I think I can take Sammy and Dojun. I'll drink them under the table, night of drinking, for sure.
You see, I always love the fact that Korea's got this concept of being a drinking culture, and
Mhm.
I think to myself, try Friday or Saturday night around Sheffield, and then you'll see what a drinking culture is.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, listeners, tell us what you would pick. Are you going on a night of drinking with Sammy and Dojun? Or are you going to have a jam session with Hajun and Jaehyun? I think both of them are amazing opportunities. So hopefully this is
Oh,
hard in a good way to pick, not maybe the last one that we had. All right. Join us.
you're gonna pull that up at some point, though, aren't you?
I
You are
am.
gonna
I
ask
am
that
gonna do
question.
I will do that would you rather at a future one. So listeners, I had a
Oh
doozy.
God,
Oh my goodness,
she
I
had
had a
a great
doozy.
one.
I did have a doozy. Join us next time. I think we're gonna do a deep dive. I'm not sure. Let's see. I think actually next time, Kelly, we talked about our deep dive being your experience at Rabbit at the Moon Festival because
Yeah.
when we release the next episode, you'll have been to the Rabbit at the Moon Festival. And I think we're going to take a break from their discography and really dive into that experience so our listeners can hear all about that. So that's going to be next episode. Please rate our podcast, leave us comments about this episode, email us. We, again, love to hear your feedback. Follow us on social media on Instagram and X. We are at KROC_cast. That is KROK_cast. Email us at krock.cast@gmail.com.
Click here to subscribe.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Bye bye.
Bye.